This is the story of how a small South Florida film crew filmed a very ambitious music video in a Miami mansion.
President Trump declaring a national emergency.
When the news of the pandemic quickly spread around March, I wasn't sure what to think. School had just gotten out for spring break, and I was certain that within a few weeks, everything would be back to normal. I thought we'd been through similar situations before, so I wasn't really concerned, but I was definitely wrong. Not only were my school projects completely halted, but so was the entire professional film industry, and just about every business that required physical meetups was considered dead. For months I struggled with only working on very small-scale projects with local Orlando friends, but I was aching for more opportunities and kept being tempted to just break the rules of the quarantine. So finally I drove back to my hometown in Naples, Florida, and met up with an old high school friend, Max, who was a freelance filmmaker. He told me about a good opportunity shooting a music video for a local rapper, and I jumped on it. So on June 13th, 2020, we started driving to Miami. It was a long and tedious process. The quarantine had left us all in a very uncertain mood, and the protests were going on all over the country. There was a lot of controversies going on, and we didn't want to cause anybody meaning during the pandemic, but the crew was willing to take risks. Finally, we reached the mansion. It was like something out of Scarface, and it cost $1,500 for us to rent for the day. We set up inside and met the rap crew and the film crew. The rap crew wanted to make the best video possible, but really they were just there to party and didn't know much about the filmmaking process. Max was a film director I knew from high school. He was a director and cinematographer. Sebi was a South Florida rapper just starting out, and we had a whole nother film crew, about 3 or 4 people that didn't really know much about the filmmaking process. I was the only one that actually studied film. But we all did our own thing. I got BTS, 2 other people took photos, and we had a lot of equipment to set up. The rap crew was Sebi's friends, just a group of partiers for the video, and we had a lot of random Miami people that just showed up to party. The homeowners were a little bit cautious with us using the house, but we paid them a lot, so they let us use it. Eventually the homeowners kicked us out and gave us $300 to just leave because it got so crazy. We also had a couple chefs who cooked hundreds of dollars worth of food, only to get kicked out and have it all wasted. But overall, besides the chef fiasco, everything seemed to work out pretty good. We were definitely ambitious and did a lot of amateur stuff that I know a real film crew would look down upon, but hey, we were just kids trying to make it, and although the crew took a lot of risks, they thought it was worth it. We also had a whole gardening truck full of film equipment. We quickly took out a jib and other accessories. Max was using a Blackmagic 6K pocket cinema camera, and we set up a whole rig for him to use. Inside the mansion, there was a lot to set up and a lot of rooms to use. It was 3 stories tall, and we began filming in the kitchen. Max had bought his own airy light kit, and we set it up in the living room for some party shots. The party began, though, on the rooftop. They had a pool and bar, and we used a lot of slow motion shots. We wanted to get some exotic car shots, but we didn't have any real nice cars. So for hours we tried to call it the Miami Exotic Car Rental Companies, but you had to be 25 to rent a car, and none of us were over 22. So we hit the road again to see what we could use with our own cars. We planned to drive down to South Beach, but after a long drive through busy Miami suburbs, the crew finally decided to stop at the Miami International Airport. The crew decided to ignore safety and avoid the police as they filmed insanely ambitious car shots featuring crowds hanging out of windows and sunroofs. They were definitely not social distancing. The crew filmed the car shots all over the roads from the Miami International Airport until we drove back to the mansion. Now I've been told that our actions are very irresponsible and reckless, so let me just say for the record that I full-heartedly agree. This documentary is pretty much to show everything that you're not supposed to do on a professional film set. I was just there to document the situation, and I'm very thankful that no one got hurt, and we have the shots that we got. And if you read the disclaimer in the beginning, you'll know that this documentary is for educational purposes, to show, although we got away with everything, this is a very amateur way of pushing the limits, and I definitely do not recommend doing any of these dangerous actions at home, and definitely not on a professional film set. With that being said, I think we definitely learned a few lessons along the way.
What's up? You can stay there, you're good.
Connecting to road.
Oh, watch yourself. Oh, we almost called like the OnStar. Oh, fuck. Holy shit. No, you're good. Alright, at least we know what that does.
People started showing up to the party shortly later, and the chefs began preparing a big meal and intended to sell food to the actors and the partygoers. And as the night approached, the crew set up for the party scene on the main rooftop pool. As the party scene played out, the camera was sprayed with champagne, which surprisingly caused an awesome Vaseline effect, something I always wanted to try. After the scene was over, drama ensued as one of the rap crew suspected a partygoer of robbing them. Somebody got their wallet stolen, and a fight began. People began to threaten each other, and a death threat was even made. Unfortunately, I have no footage of the fight because I decided to leave the scene. Finally, we were able to obtain a Corvette, and it arrived for the exotic car scene. But just as this happened, the homeowners began to kick everyone out early because of the fight. Everyone in the house was aggressively kicked out, including the chefs who cooked a huge meal for absolutely nothing. As the crew packed up and began to leave, a gunshot was heard, fired in the driveway, which caused a panic as everyone rushed away. Later, at a nearby hotel, the crew reviewed the footage, and after all the insanity and the risks we took, we were ambitious enough to get pretty much everything we needed. I'd say the night went pretty well besides all the fucking craziness. That was some real Miami shit.